But, Steve, I guess the big story out of camp yesterday was what Enrique Rojas told us of ESPN Deportes. Negotiations between Edwin and Encarnacion and the Blue Jays not going well. Bob Elliott of the Sun subsequently reporting that he is hearing that the Jays have offered Edwin a 2-year contract. Edwin wants 5. Now, we could sit here and say, okay, there seems to be some room to maneuver there. But the one thing you're kind of able to put together from all the things everybody's saying, and the Jays aren't, Mark Shapiro's not commenting on this publicly, and quite frankly, I wouldn't either. But everything you're able to put together, it sounds like not only are they apart in term, which is kind of understandable. It sounds as if money hasn't even been broached, and we're 15 days away from Edwin's self-imposed deadline.
Yeah, and I'm kind of wrestling to decide whether this is just lip service that there's a negotiation going on of some sort just because so they can say they've negotiated, or whether this is serious. What we've been led to believe so far with both guys is that the Jays are coming in with 2s and 3s, and the other guys are looking for 5s and 6s.
Yeah.
If that's the case, there's not going to be a deal, right? And both guys are going to go to free agency because they and their agents believe they're going to get more term than that. And I understand what the thinking, and I think everybody's going to kind of wrap their heads around what the thinking is in Blue Jay land here. And I'm not so sure it would have been different if Alex Anthopoulos.
Oh, I would suggest it wouldn't be any different, to be honest.
No, I think they've got this. They can't pay guys for what they've done. You can't pay them sentimentally, and you have to kind of look at this team over the next 2 or 3 years, where your core is going to be Russell Martin, Josh Donaldson, Troy Tulowitzki. You're locked in with those guys. They're kind of in their either in the prime of their career or just edging towards the late prime of their career. I think if Mark Shapiro was being in a position where he could probably be completely forthright, he'd say, look, we got an old team. We're going to be an old team. We're going to be an old team fast in a game where youth is increasingly valuable. We don't want to become that. We don't want to get, have an anchor dragging behind us at a time when our minor league system isn't going to be cranking out replacement players, guys who can pop into the roster at any great rate. So it's going to be a very tricky dance. And if that's the case, you're not going to be throwing sentimental money, even if Edwin's next year or next 2 years, or Jose's next year or next 2 years are going to be incredibly productive. You're going to be worrying about year 3, year 4, year 5 if you were willing to go down that road. And I think that they want to be lighter on their feet than that organizationally. I think they want more room to maneuver. So if there's a way to do it for with opt-outs and a relative short term, I think they would do it. I think if it's anything beyond that, I think there's zero chance. I think there's zero chance both guys come back. And if I was betting right now, and I would have said this, 2 months ago, I don't think either guy's coming back next year.
Yeah.
I know there's been a little bit of a dance around this since, but I've always thought that they would move on from both guys and hope they play their tails off this year in their walk years.